everybody. It's Miss Catalano here, Cider Mill School. We just wanted to take you guys through how to create a family charter, which has a lot to do with what we've been doing with our social emotional learning this year. Um, Ruler is something that some of you may be familiar with. That's a program that we've been using in the Wilton Public Schools to think about emotional intelligence. So, Ruler is an acronym. This is what it stands for here. So the first would be recognizing emotion in self and others. U is for understanding the causes and consequences of emotions. L is for labeling emotions accurately. E is for expressing emotions appropriately. And R is for regulating emotions effectively. So we use these skills as we're trying to manage our emotions, which right now I think is an important thing to make sure that we're thinking about. So this slide here just gives a little bit more information. Sometimes these skills that we're teaching at Cider Mill, people refer to them as soft skills. However, we have found, and it has been found through research done at Yale, that these skills are essential for effective teaching and learning, sound decision making, physical and mental health, and then success in school and in life. So there are four tools that our staff has currently been introduced to. And so far this year, our students were introduced to the first two tools here. So the first is the charter, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And the second is the mood meter. So if you happen to be near your kids or with your kids right now, you can pause the video and ask them to explain to you what the mood meter is. Um, they have also been introduced to part of this third one here, the meta moment. So, thinking about your best self is step four here. And last week during our read aloud, during my read aloud, we thought about what your best self is. So, that is a tool that students have also been thinking about. So, today we're going to be focusing on a charter. So, what is a charter, you may ask? So, it really is just a written document that details how everybody wants to feel. So, we have made a staff charter at Cider Mill School. Your child has made a charter in their classroom, and it might be something that the teacher has brought up now that we are in e-learning. But something that is a part of this program is a family charter. So we're going to be thinking today about how we want to feel in our home as a part of your family. So Mark Brackett, Dr. Mark Brackett, I'm sure you've seen him. He's been in interviews with Brene Brown. He's talked to Ellen. He's pretty up and coming. If you haven't heard of him yet, I highly suggest researching him. He wrote a book called Permission to Feel. And then this was a quote that he had said after that. So I'm just going to read it here. It says, when writing Permission to Feel, I heard from families that most people want their homes filled with love and laughter, kindness and compassion, joy and hope. But what's the best way to create a so called positive emotional climate in our homes? So that's going to be the goal of creating a family charter is to create this positive emotional climate in your home. And I know we've been spending quite a bit of time with our families, so this might be a good time to stop and reflect and think about how we can help our kids and ourselves be successful with this. So I'm going to send this out right here. It says click here for a one pager on how to create a family charter. So if you can't watch this video anymore, you just don't have the time, I will send this out as a link here. But this is a great one pager that walks you through it and is very helpful. This circle here is really just an example of someone's family charter. So it's really just two steps. It's not that hard. So the first step is to answer the question, how do we want to feel as a family? And the second step is, what do we need to do to experience these feelings more frequently? And I just said that it's not that hard. However, it is hard. Talking about emotions is a really difficult thing to do, especially if that's not something that you typically do with your family, it can be a really challenging skill. So, what is important is to make sure that everyone is engaged and ready to do this work because it might be a challenging conversation. You will need, this is just some examples of what you would need. You could make a poster on construction paper, or you could, build it using a computer program, whichever your family prefers. But what's really important is that you find a time to do this when everyone is feeling calm, focused, and ready to work together. So, the first thing that you're going to do is to answer that question. How would you like to feel at home? So it really is going to depend on the age of your child, how much support they're going to need with this. However, I have found doing this a couple times with a couple different groups. We did it with our district administration team. As I said before, we did it with our staff. Sometimes it's hard to think about feelings in good feeling words. Um, my emotional vocabulary isn't as strong as I would like. It's something I'm working on. So my next slide here has a list of sample words. So you can use that slide to help you. Um, and then over here is just a box too. So thinking some words that would be good for this: respected, loved, connected, appreciated, understood, happy, joyful. So those are just some examples. But what you want to do is have everyone sort of brainstorm a list of feelings. And then if you have your kids do it independently, if they're a little bit older, after you're going to look at everyone's list and you're going to see if there are any words that have similar meanings and then choose the one that the family likes the best. But your goal is to come out of this with your top 5 words. Okay, so you can do 3 to 5, but we don't suggest doing more than 5 because sometimes um, it might be too many. However, you can if you need to. Okay. Oh, and I just realized my little animals over here aren't showing. Okay, so again, here is another word bank if you wanted to show this to your family to help them just brainstorm some ideas of how they want to feel at home. Okay, for your step 2, this is a very important step because this is the step where you are describing the behaviors that everyone is going to agree to help each other feel those words that you chose. So you're going to think of 1 to 2 specific behaviors that each family member could have, um, could do to help each other feel that way. So some good examples here that are specific would be smiling, saying good morning, knocking on the door before entering. Those are just 3 different examples that you could use, just to get you thinking of more specific. Because if you look at the non example here being nice, that's not specific enough because we don't really, nice for one person could be different than it is for another person. So if you're thinking about knocking on the door before entering, that doesn't vary at all. So you want to think of specific behaviors that are going to help each other feel those feelings. Then you're going to pull all the pieces together. So this is where you get to be creative. You can, like I said, you can make a poster. It could be big or small, colorful, filled with drawings. This is where the kids' creativity could really come in handy. But what's really important is that you have your top 5 feelings and then the specific behaviors that go underneath. And then this is very important here. Once the family charter is complete, everyone must sign it because that means that they are on board and they are going to be a part of this. And they're saying that they agree this is how they want to feel, this is how they know others want to feel in the house, and that they are going to agree to do these behaviors. And then this last step here is to display the charter prominently in your home. So sometimes just having a visual helps to remind people of an agreement that they did in the conversation that you had. So this next slide here is just, these are some sample charters that we have from our classrooms. So you might see your child's class charter here, but I just wanted to put this in here to show you that your charters, they can all look different. So it really, like, this is really if you your family wants to really be creative here, you can come up with some really cool things. Like here we have our bee that shows our charter. One class decided to do a star, another class did like a brick wall building together. Here you've got these popsicle sticks. So, this could be a fun family project that you could do to create that charter. Now, this step here is an important one about keeping your charter alive because sometimes we, could be really go-getters and, do something once and that's great. And then it works for like a week and then it stops working. So, this is where that parent piece is going to be really important to make sure that you're continuing to bring this up so that we can keep the charters alive. So, these are just some examples of ways that you could do that. So you could have each family member set a daily or weekly goal for the charter. An example could be I'm going to make sure I say good morning to everyone in the house every single day this week. Um, Another example is to set a weekly or monthly family meeting to review the charter, see what's working, what's not working, what can we do differently. Number three, just different things that would help remind your family of what everybody agreed to. So, thinking about a weekly quote that you found, or sending out a family email, or writing a message on the mirror every morning, or just something to remind you, your partner, the kids in the house of the charter and what everyone has agreed to. And then lastly, this is um, an important bullet point here. It says revise the family charter as needed. So this is actually a living document. It should be something that is editable because families change, they go through ups and downs, and it's an agreement, but it needs to be fluid and flexible. So if you need to change it at any point, you are encouraged to do so. So that's all I have for your family charter. Like I said, I will also be sending out that one pager, which it could be helpful just to have next to you as you're doing this. But again, it's those two steps. So how do we want to feel, and what specific behaviors can we all agree to help each other feel that way? So if you have any questions at all, my email is here on the bottom. You can find me on Twitter. And I just want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope everyone is well and is staying safe. Thank you, everybody.